Okay, good morning. Uh, Today in natural resource management, we are going to learn about land as a resource. So, land. Uh, what is land? Land is not, regarded simply in terms of soil and surface topography, but encompasses such features as underlying, superficial uh, deposits, climate, water resources, and plants and animal community depending on it. So which have developed as a result of interaction of physical conditions and natural phenomena. So the result of human activities reflected by the change in the vegetation cover by the structure also is regarded as a feature of a land. So the change of one factor of such, this is such as land use, has a potential impact on other factors such as flora, fauna, soil, surface water, the distribution, the climate, weather condition, all changes. So the change in these factors can readily explain the ecosystem dynamics of the ecosystem and the importance of their relationship in planning and management of the resources, specifically land resources, has become a increasingly evident, increasingly important in an evident future. Okay, so land resource. So land is regarded as the greatest among the natural resource. It is one of the important component of life support system. So importance of of land, it sustain many of the living beings, agricultural activities, animal husbandry. It supports forests, grasslands, human settlements, wildlife, depending on land, on it depends on land. Then industrialization, urbanization, development, all developmental activities like construction of road, railway lines is possible due to the availability of the land. Human using lands are of various aspects like farming, recreation, urbanization, forestry, and so on. So land and the land as a resources. So when we talk about land as a resource, it refers to the delineation of the area of earth that that is the terrestrial surface that that uh, in completely accepts the attributes of the biosphere that is there, the living organisms that are depending on it, immediately above, living over it, and below it. So there are certain living organisms which is living beneath it, like mole rats and small microorganic organisms also living on the soil. So the biosphere that is above the surface and below the surface include those of our near surface climates. So the soil and the terrain forms surface hydrology also. So hydrology also depends on or hydrosphere also is also on the land features. Okay, so near surface sediment layers and associated groundwater, geohydrological structures, reserves, the plants, animals, and so on are all parts, features of land as a resource. So when we use it, the land, when we use it, utilize it, that is the land use. So the characteristics, it is land use is characterized by the arrangement and the activity input by people to produce, change, or maintain a certain in a land cover type. That is, the land use can be defined as the, settlement or establishment or agricultural field or wasteland or scarpland or forested area or hilly region, that they are all, they have their use, they have their functions, but they have different names of it and different functions that they provide. And land cover is like, it is the observed as a physical cover on the earth's surface, uh, you know uh, on the surface of the earth, what area and what is the spatial cover it is taking up. Okay, so human use of land is also can be categorized into land use, that is farming, for the recreation, urbanization, forestry, and so on. Land as a basic resource. So, land is a basic natural resource significantly contributing to a national economy. So balance in the ecology and the environmental factor also sustain all the life forms which is dependent on the land use. Okay, so all the life forms which is dependent on the inner surface, that is the land, that is whether it is forest, it is agriculture, the settlements, that is all dependent. Ecological balance, environmental factors, all sustained on the land. So land is an economic resource. Okay, economic resource has a value as a property. Most of the human activities are on land. La- Land support agriculture, transport, urbanization, and many more. It it encompasses all other natural resources like water, oil, then the natural oil, rocks, plants, animals, and minerals that we find from the mines. Land is a valuable resource, as land is a utilize can be utilized as a cultivation for for crop yield, settlements for the population, creation of dams, reservoirs, development of industries, and maintaining the forest and life, and the wildlife over it. Okay. India is large and diverse country. So it is geologically the seventh largest country in the world. So its geological area includes regions with some world's highest rainfall zones of very high level rainfall it receives, precipitation it receives, or very dry region like desert. Okay, then we have a long coastline, two alpine long range of alpine regions, that is the Himalayas, and dense riverines and deltatic system, to even the tropical islands also we have in our country. India, just hold on, it is not completely visible. Okay, so India has a diverse range of landforms. Okay, this diverse range of landforms, India, ranging from rainforest of Kerala in the south to alpine pasture of Ladakh hills in the north, from the desert of Rajasthan in the west and evergreen forest in the northeastern states are parts of our natural resources. Then land use, like any kind of permanent or cyclic interventions of a land, is called a land use. So it is the surface utilization of the vacant land or a developed land for a particular purpose or a clear purpose or a distinct purpose that has been given, like mining is also a a activity of land use. We are mining an area, although whether that is a completely different topic, whether it has a bad implications in the environment and it's not good for the environment on the earth. But saying that it is ultimately an economical activity for the country, for the region, right? So mining, we are mining out certain ores or minerals from the from, surface of the earth, right? So that mining is also a land use activity. What we are gaining out of it, that mine can fall into forested areas. Now that there it rises in controversy whether we have a forest as a as a resource, or a land as a resource, we use it there. Okay, so land use. So any kind of permanent or cyclic interventions of a land is called a land use, and it is a surface utilization of a vacant land or a developed land for a clear purpose at a given time. So land use is an emerging socio-economic activity wherein a region of one major specific purpose utility may be converted into another land of general purpose or utility. Okay. Land use and land cover. Now, land use and land cover, there are two technical terms using in the geography as a land use and land cover. Land use refers to the man activities and the various uses which are carried out on the land, and land cover refers to the natural vegetation, water body, rock, soil, and physical features over the surface is called land cover, and both in terms are interrelated also. Just hold on. Okay. So, land use and land cover. So there are two technical terms used in geography, or understanding the earth, is the land use and the land cover. So land use refers to the man's activity and various uses which are carried out on the land. So in terminology of environment, that is the economics, environmental economics, that is land can be regarded as a stock and renewable resources. So land resource do not easily fit into categories of renewable or non-renewable resource. In general, they are slowly renewable. However, in relate to degradation, if we talk about land degradation, so far exceeding their natural rate of generation. So in practical terms, this means that the land that is lost to degradation is not naturally replaced within a human time frame, so resulting into a loss of opportunity for the next generation also. So here, if we are talking about land as a resource, we also have to see how economically, environmental economically it is viable. So when we are talking about the minings and all, so it will that we have to determine the economics of it, so whether it is going to degrade, how much degradation is going to happen, and whether we can recover from it or not. Urbanization and mining are land use practices. Okay. So let's first understand the basic relationship of population and the management strategy. Basically, the potential production of the arable land and its susceptibility to degradation are depending on the management strategies that we take up. So then that management strategies employed on inherited soil and other characteristics like agriculture dependent society. uh, this has a characteristics of this society is that it is combination of factor which determines the potentiality of the population that can be supported. So this potential population that can be supported, and the standard of living when the population is increasing is a given in a given area. The increased demand and the production can induce stress and consequent degradation of the land resources. So if no other source of income can be tapped, people stands for living uh, standards of living that decreases. So however, if improved management strategies are available, either the standard of living may rises, or more people can be supported at the same time, or with the same standard of living, without the deterioration of the natural resources on the basis. It will have that ample supply of land for us, suitable quality and an appropriate production technology as an essential, if the increase of the demand and the growth of the population are also be met. Okay, so land resources are under stress only when it is not managed well. Then settlements and the land cover. So uh, settlements are also land use land cover, part of land use land cover. Okay, so that is it's like here, if you see, this is from a line, there are houses which have been constructed here. So it is the settlement area is covering quite a lot of land in this region. Apart from here, on the fringes, you can see there is a hill which is going on top with forest cover. So that is land use land cover. Plantation is also part of your land use land cover. Importance of land use study is that the knowledge of current land use is essential to support analysis and management of land, vegetation, water resources, and quality, and the maintenance of the biodiversity. So land resources under stress is only when we do not understand the what is required. So that's why it is important that we study about the land use. So land use planning is a separate branch of study in disciplines like geography, geology, geoinformatics, town planning, architecture, forestry, civil engineering, environmental engineering, and developmental studies are part where we try to understand the land use planning. And these field uses remote sensing and GIS as a tool for uh, understanding and developing models and maps to understand the land use land pattern and for a sustainable growth and development. Land use planning is a public policy. So it encompasses various disciplines which seeks in order to regulate land use in an effective and ethical way. Land use planning uses planning that often leads to land use regulations, also known as zoning. So we have to, like, whenever you go to any area or a city or an urban settlement, there are zones. So there is a commercial zone, there is an economic zone, there is an industrial zone, there is a green, urban green areas or green zone is also there. Like in every urban city, you will come across uh, parks, that is green, urban green spaces, right? So that is a different zone. Like city like New York has a central park. It is so large. The central park is so huge that it has a forest all by itself in it. Okay, so that acts as a big resource to the city of New York. Okay, land use planning is needed because to overcome the problem of haphazard uncontrolled development. Okay, uh, this uncontrolled development will have pressure will be generated due to the pressure of the population. Okay, Then what is the available land as a utility. So all piece of land cannot be used as a utility. Then deterioration of the environmental quality will also depend on the the type of land use pattern or planning that we are taking up. Loss of prime agricultural land will also result due to the type of policies or planning we are making onto land use patterns. Destruction of important wetlands and loss of fish and wildlife habitat can also result if we do not use our land resources in a judicial manner. Land use data are needed like to in analysis of environmental process and problem that must be understood for living conditions and standard to improve or maintain at a current level. Okay. So like when we are talking about land use data which is required, like how much area is covered under settlement, how much area is covered under agriculture, what is the total area of forest land, what is the total area of water masses, wetlands. So they are very important to be documented or made an inventory on, because these inventories will eventually help on the utility or value of the land use. So the utility value and the type of land use depends on geographical locations, physical conditions, availability of water resources, fertility of soil, proximity to other human activities as well. All right. Then we have land use mapping in India. So land use distribution in India has been mapped by National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, that is NATMO. For a better understanding, and India's land areas are divided spatially in various land use regions, like it has been spatially various land use regions. So general classification of the land use as a large number of land use type and category have been worked out by various researchers for of different disciplines, depending on the what is the purpose that that researchers is aiming for. The classification of the land use is into its various use and how these use change over time, provided the background data for the planning of the land resources. Okay. Land use distribution in India out of total geographical area of uh, 380 yeah, 328.73 mega hectares. Land use statistics are available for roughly about 306 mega hectares, contributing to about 93% of the total land that we have. Geographical area of our country is the all India has a total geographical land mass is about 328 mega hectare, and reported area of land utilization is 306, that is 93%. So like we are utilizing our land uh, almost to the brim, to the fullest. Okay. So the different types of uses that we are utilizing these lands are like net sown areas. Like for agriculture, it is 148 mega hectares. That is 46% of the total land area of our country is going to agriculture. Then forested area, that is 70 mega hectares, that is 23% of the total forest land of our country is going to forest lands. Non-agricultural land is about 26 mega hectares, which is quite minimal. Then fallow land is again 25 mega hectares. Barren and uncultivable land is about 17 mega hectare. Agricultural wasteland, cultivable wasteland is about 13 mega hectare, and permanent pasture and grazeland is about 10 mega hectare, and miscellaneous tree crops and groves are about 3 mega hectares. So it in total it comprises to the entire 100% of the land that we have been using in our country. Now the landslide, this is again, this can be, affected. These land use can be affected again by the various landslides, or geological destruction, or geological uh, losses that can result from uh, uh, the various, utility of the, of the land use, like landslides. So as we know, the main cause of landslides are because of the, mining activity in the mountainous region, removal of vegetation in the mountainous hills, construction of dams, reservoir on the for the hydrological power, cutting down of the, slopes, um, for construction of, purposes. Then, agricultural activity on the hilly region, overgrazing, or hills at a hill slope, making tunnels, mountain roads, and railway lines are all contributing to the land degradation. So a landslide is one of the land degradation. So effects of landslide is like, it is obstruction of, road and rail lines, of a flow of water is also disrupted, and it results into landslide. Contribution is like, it controlled, control of landslide can be done through, by limiting the deforestation, the control of deforestation, afforestation activities, control of reckless mining, control over overgrazing, avoiding reckless cultivation, and so on. Soil erosion can also be, reduced, by, required to be reduced, as it is also part of soil land degradation. Soil erosion will result into land degradation, which is, which is very important, as it supports the life forms on the surfaces. So it refers to the loss of the topsoil. So normally soil erosion is natural phenomena, and the process is slow, but it can be, heightened, or the intensity can rise due to human interventions. Okay. Then, various types of soil erosions, like we have sheet erosion, valley erosion, gully erosion, wind erosion, resulting into the degradation of the soil. So these are the various, the pictures that showing the various degradation that is happening because of the erosion. That is rally erosion. Again, it happens in your agricultural land feature. It will cause damage to the crop cultivation. Sheet erosion, again, affecting the crop cultivation. Gully erosion will again affect the crop cultivation. Wind erosion affecting the crop as well as the land as a, uh, so the cause of the erosion can be of, various causes. Again, the same, the devil walks in, that is deforestation, overgrazing, heavy rainfall, wind, strong winds, improper, not proper way of, practicing cultivation or agricultural practices, careless and extensive irrigation, or floods. Frequent floods can result into soil erosions. Okay. Then we have deforestation, desertification. So it is a process which involves loss of, regenerative capacity of the soil, to depletion or absence of the plant supporting factors. Like cause of deforestation can be because of, again, deforestation, it will result into desertification, exploitation of the soil cover, strong winds, then improper agricultural practices, and then overgrazing, and faulty land use techniques, or land use policies, or pattern that we follow will result into desertification. Okay, this is how desertification will look like. So once there was a cultivable land will turn into a barren land. It can be because of over irrigation. So once you get into a habit of over irrigating area, it can be getting waterlogged, or it can get saline or alkaline in nature. Over This is when I'm talking about, faulty way of agricultural practices. When we are using artificial fertilizers and pesticides, will again affect the quality of the soil, which will affect your crop cultivation and turning that area into barren land, resulting into desertification. It is not only if going to affect your crops there, it is also going to affect the indigenous vegetations that are growing in and around those cultivable lands, and which is very important to be preserved on. Okay. The effect of deforestation, like it is a purpose which involves loss of regenerative capacity of the soil due to the depletion or the absence of the plant supporting the factors. So the causes of desertifications are basically the loss of vegetation cover. So once the soil has been degraded because of your over irrigation, over grazing, or mining activities, or even using pesticides and fertilizers, affecting the soil quality, reducing the production, reducing the top vegetation over it. When the vegetation is reduced, it will be vulnerable to elements to the erosion. Loss of habitat for animals, the indigenous animals which are dependent there on those vegetables, will be also deprived of it. Then the effect, it will affect the industries which are based, agro based industries, or forest based industries will be highly affected because of the desertification, or the which has been initiated because of human activities that we are taking up. Land degradation is not suitable for which is again not suitable for agricultural products and products that we develop. So regulation of cutting trees, control of overgrazing, growing of economical suitable plants in affected areas, public awareness, generating public awareness, proper farming practice, proper use of soil, and groundwater are all part of when we are using as a land as a resource, and we need to conserve it. So this is all about how land we are using as a resource for taking up all the domains, as well as the conservations and the losses, and the degradation that we are doing it in a present scenario, and how we can go about and reducing the loss that we are creating. Okay. So this is all about land use, and land as a resource.